This video is part of the course that is Build Reactive REST APIs with Spring Web Flux and Spring Boot. Link for the course is given in the description. Hello and welcome back. In this lecture, we will see what is back pressure. So let's first understand back pressure using real world example. So here we have one bucket to fill it with water, and we have one source of water. Here we have one water tap, and here we have one handle to either start or stop the flow of water. Also, we can increase or decrease this water flow. Now here there are two scenarios. So the first one is, say for example, this bucket is completely filled with water. So the person needs to bring another bucket. So what he will do is, using this handle right over the water tap, he will stop the water flow and will try to arrange another bucket. Now, say for example, the person is not getting another bucket, right? He is out of the bucket to fill it with water. So that's fine because this is closed, right? This, using the handle, the person has stopped the water flow. So he is okay over here because this bucket is completely filled. Now, the second scenario is, say for example, this bucket is half filled, okay? And the person identifies that after some time, I will need another bucket. So what he will do, he will slow down this flow of water using this handle, and he will get some more time, right? And in that time, the person will try to bring another bucket, right? So here on the receiver side, we have person and this is the source, right? Basically using this water tap, this is the source. So person has capability that either he can completely stop this water flow or he can increase or decrease the flow of this water. So the receiver, basically the person, has fully control over the source, that how much he or she wants. If the receiver is out of the resources, basically out of the buckets, right, then he will stop it or he will slow down the flow of this water. So this is back pressure with real world example. Now let's understand back pressure with our traditional REST APIs with Spring Boot application. So here we have our Spring Boot application. This is the database, and say for example, from our Spring Boot application, we are getting the data from the database. Say for example, we are firing select star query, basically find all if you are using JPA, right? So here Spring Boot application is on the receiver side, and this database is basically source of data. Basically it is a source, right? And our Spring Boot application is on the receiver side. Now, say for example, our database is giving lot of data for this query, and Spring Boot application is not able to handle this much of data. Basically, Spring Boot application is out of the resources. So there is no way that our Spring Boot application can tell to database that, hey, slow down. I'm out of resources. Give me some time and slow down during that time, and I will try to arrange other resources, right? So there is no such way with our traditional REST APIs in Spring Boot application. Now, say for example, our Spring Boot application is not able to gather other resources. So there is no way that our Spring Boot application can tell to database that, hey, stop it. Don't give me more data. Whatever you gave me till now, I'm good with that. Now I don't want more data. Stop it. So there is no such way with traditional REST APIs with Spring Boot application. So basically, our traditional REST APIs with Spring Boot are not supporting back pressure. Now, let's summarize the challenges that we have seen so far with the traditional REST APIs. The first is it's synchronous and blocking. The second is it uses thread per request model. So there is a challenge to handle lot of concurrent requests at the same time. The third one is it's not supporting back pressure. So remember these challenges because this will help you to determine when to go for reactive programming and Spring Web Flux. This will also help you to identify why to go for reactive programming and Spring Web Flux. So this is back pressure, and from the next lecture, we will jump into reactive programming. If you like the video, then please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, like the video, do comment in the comment section, and share with your friends. Do you want to learn reactive programming with Spring Web Flux? If yes, then I am having complete course on it. In this course, first you will learn what is reactive programming and why you need to go for reactive programming. You will learn basics of reactive programming with Project Reactor library, and also you will learn reactive types, flux and mono with practical example. This course covers what is back pressure and how to achieve back pressure using reactive programming. In this course, you will learn different schedulers provided by reactive programming to perform tasks asynchronously. After having the basic knowledge of reactive programming, you will learn how to build reactive REST APIs with Spring Webflux and Spring Boot. You will learn how to have functional endpoint for your reactive REST APIs, and also you will learn how to get path variable, query param and HTTP headers while working with functional endpoints for your reactive REST APIs. You will learn to build non-blocking REST APIs with Spring Webflux and Spring Data R2DBC using different HTTP methods like GET, PUT, POST and DELETE. Here, Spring Data R2DBC is used to connect to any SQL database in a reactive way. Just want to mention that you can't use Spring Data JPA while working with reactive programming, and that's why Spring Data R2DBC is there for the same purpose. In this course, you will learn to create video streaming application just like YouTube using reactive REST APIs and Spring Webflux. So, what are you waiting for? Link for the course is given in the description. Just click on that and start building reactive REST APIs with Spring Webflux and Spring Boot. That's all for now. We'll see you in the another video. Till then, happy learning and happy coding.